in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house, your crypto and PulseChain commentary. Today is going to be epic. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, and man, it's going to be just non-stop alpha information. And yeah, like you get this nowhere else. This is nowhere else. This is here. And of course, we're streaming every day, pretty much around 8 p.m. Eastern time, give or take a few minutes. And it's a lot of fun, man. I'm getting ready for PulseChain, ready to rumble. We've got lots of stuff coming. We are building out a whole awesome network, and we've got a lot of content coming. That's going to be pretty awesome. So you got to match the network with the content. You know how it works. It somehow bypasses each other, but sometimes you got to clash it up together, smash it up, sort of mince it around, something like that. I don't know what I'm saying, but hey, it's the weekend. We can say lots of silly things. Hey, we got Wookie in the house there. Onramp yourself in the year. I like that. That's your boy. That's worth a magical jingle for sure. Onramp yourself in the ear. I like that. We got Pro Review in the house there. Nice PulseChain. Nice. Yeah, PulseChain's looking good. We're excited about the future. And we got lots of cool stuff. We are, playing our part here at the Crypto Night Show. And of course, there's lots of great influencers, lots of great people in the community doing their part, playing their part, and doing some great things out there, which is pretty exciting. So a big shout out to everybody in the community. What else we got? We got the show. You got to spread the show around. I'm going to post the link here on X. Now we're streaming on Rumble. I love you guys on Rumble, but get into the chat, get involved, and share the channel around. Hit the repost button, and definitely follow the channel as well. And you can even subscribe over there. Also, I think there's still 4 memberships waiting over on Rumble. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so get on that. Also, obviously on YouTube, we're streaming to 2 YouTube channels. We've got a third one coming up, so we're going to be covering that too. And of course, we're also streaming on X now, which has been really fun. So definitely repost on X. And of course, that is the link to repost. So get out there. Just take a moment right now and share that around. Now, the other thing, of course, is we've got the Discord link. So join up today. I want to say a special welcome. We've got a special welcome to a new Discord member. So definitely join up. The links are in the video description. It is a private Discord. $12.50 a month for community membership, which is just almost a cup of coffee, maybe 2 cups of coffee. And of course, also Strategy Club. Get in there today. I will be doing the strategy update for the month as well. I'm about 2 days late on that one, or 3 days late, but we'll get there on that one today. So that is coming out, the monthly update. You don't want to miss that. Going to have a lot of alpha in that on the Strategy Club. Only $35 a month for that. Pretty exciting. All right, so let's get into it. We got a big shout out, of course, to Hacken there, the latest member in the Discord. So join up today. We've got lots of cool people joining, and you can be one of them. And it's very exciting to do that. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the show and see who else has jumped in there. Get into the chat, as I say, whether you're on Rumble, X, or, of course, YouTube, or if you're from Discord as well. So get in there on the show. All right, so we got something special coming up. We've been rustling something up, and you're going to be seeing that this week. That is coming this week. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we've got a few other surprises on the way as well that we're working on. So, yeah, we're expanding the content and communication, and the promotion of PulseChain. And, of course, we cover crypto, we cover economics, we cover society, we cover politics as well. We add a bit of that in, we mix it in because it's all makes an impact on us and our lives, and of course, particularly the crypto boom we're expecting to come up soon. So I'm pretty excited. All right, so don't forget to follow, smash that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Let's get into the content, and we're going to have a look here. This is how the stream on X at the moment. So definitely take a chance to repost that. But what I get into is actually the socials. Make sure that you're subscribing here on YouTube. You're subscribing on Rumble, on X, Disco, and get onto that. And of course, Discord, join up today. That is the place to be. That's where we have conversations. We cover pretty much everything in there, like, word to word. So if you want to get in, we've got a great bunch of people. So people that you can really like, really trustworthy, and are really knowledgeable. You win there. Get into Discord today. Links in the description. And of course, Telegram. You can get on Telegram. That is free. And of course, you got the alpha list there as well. You can go through that as well at the moment. So kind of cool. So that is the join up there. I'm going to post this link in the chat there as well. If the mods are over on Rumble and stuff, if you could post it over there, that'd be fantastic. So join up to the socials right now and join socials. As you guys know, I'm rebuilding on X. Because the old one they took down, they don't give you any reason. You appeal and they don't tell you anything about it. That's just the way it goes. But just like Superman, you get back up and you fly again. So that's pretty much it. All right, let's move on. I want to get into some of the cool stuff here, crypto. So we're going to be talking about, obviously, PulseChain's Onramps, DEX aggregators, and, of course, block explorers. That's coming up at the end of the show. We have a lot of people watching it in the show. That's going to be where it is, and it's going to be a very big part of the show. So stay tuned for that. You do not want to miss it. If you want to know the comprehensive list, the ultimate guide, I've compiled that, and we're going to go through it. I'm going to give you some pro tips about certain platforms as well. So you don't want to miss that. And, of course, that will get you the most out of your experience on PulseChain in particular. So hold on to your hat for that one. It's going to be pretty good. Post it, says Wookie. Absolutely get out there and join up. Now, we've got the markets at the moment. So let's have a look. We're at 3.056 trillion. We are on a Sunday in the US, right, which you guys know is often a very quiet day on the markets, and often can be a bit of a sell down day. And that's what we're seeing today. Pretty classic sort of Sunday. And, it's Monday here in New Zealand, of course. We're in the future, as you guys know. But 3.056 trillion is the market cap, down 3.1%. So no surprises here on the Sunday. Last week, remember, on the stock market, it was super bullish a week last week for the stock market. We got, I guess, a pretty good strong uplift in Bitcoin, but altcoin season just not hitting hard at the moment. We only had a few little gains out there. So we're still waiting for that to happen. But it's going to happen. And it will take people off guard when it does. That's just how it happens. It's just crypto. Welcome to crypto for that. Now, we've got Bitcoin at the moment, number one, sitting at $95,000, down 1.7. We've got Ethereum at number two at $1,815, down 1.5%. We've got XRP is currently at $2.16. That is down 1.5% the last 24 hours. BNB at number five is $586. That's actually dropped below that 600 mark, right? That's a fairly decent drop. It's down 2.2%. Solana, which came off its furore and it's a meme coin buzz in January, and of course had a little bit of a reprieve last week, as tapered off 2%, now $1.45, and we've got Dogecoin there at number 8, and that is down 3%. And of course, Elon Musk there stepped down from Doge for the US government, and of course, it was about 3 weeks earlier actually. We're expecting him to step down on the 21st of May as a special employee of the government, right? I think it's something like 90 days that you can do that. And he is now getting back to his main work. I'm sure he's going to be still doing stuff for the government, but that is kind of where he is at the moment. So down 3%. And we've got Cardano or ADA down 3.5%, sitting at number 9 at 67 cents. Finally, Tron to wrap up our top 10. That is actually up 0.8%, and that is sitting at 24.6 cents on Tron there. Now, those are kind of our best ranked ones that are our biggest market caps here on CoinGecko. But in terms of the best week, well, the only one that's really made a move is Ethereum and Bitcoin at the top there, up 0.6% on both of those. So they're up slightly. So if you're looking at a week ago, you're up slightly on those too. Now, obviously, we've got some big news coming around for Ethereum in particular, but we've got tons for Bitcoin coming this year as well. But let's get into the top 100 in the last week, right? So the top 100, we've got Virtual Protocol up 46%, Monero up 20.8%, Flare is up 19.7%. They're the top three in the top 100 over the last week. And then we've got Quant at number 4 and Hyperliquid at number 5 there. And we've seen a couple of these names quite regularly lately with Virtual Protocol, Hyperliquid. So definitely something maybe to consider looking at as part of your portfolio potentially. So obviously look at the fundamentals, look at the chart, and make some decisions there if that's something that interests you. We got some other ones down the bottom here. Number 6, Nexo, Curve DAO, Maker, EOS, and of course Bitcoin Cash is sitting there up at number 10. And of course, we're going to see some interesting things happen with EOS over on PulseChain. That is coming up from a team that is doing some magical stuff here as well. So we're probably going to talk about that coming up soon. So that's kind of cool. Looking at top gainers, we've got Loom Network up 74.6%. Arc Block is up 14%, and new XAI Gork, which is up yesterday, is up 56% today. So that seems to be doing on the move as well. So if you like some sort of AI theme there with the Gork, check that out. And I think Elon Musk posted something about Gork, didn't he? So you might want to follow those leads as well. Now, at the moment, trending is Art Block, New XAI, Gork, and Mantra. Mantra, of course, is the one that got wrecked, right? The one that was $6 billion, and then it fell off a cliff. We talked about, I think, this yesterday, and all the way came all the way down from $6 billion. It's now worth $374 million. Will it actually do anything? Probably not, but you just never know. Crypto, you can never count out, but it's certainly bleeding out at the moment. So that was, 6 billion down to 600 million. Now it's down to 374. So it's, it's a pretty dangerous place to try and trade, trade off the bottom there. And let's see where it goes. It's probably just gonna, go down. We'll see. Keep our outlook for that, but pretty risky stuff. You got better place to put your crypto money, right? Better place to put your crypto money. All right, so that is kind of the overall market. Let's have a look at Bitcoin on the chart. This is Coinbase, Bitcoin and Coinbase, and we can see that we're actually doing pretty well. Even with the down day, the last 2 days, we're actually doing pretty well. We avoided a death cross, so that's golden for us. We're in our golden cross. It's continuing on. We got the 50-day at the moment at 89,425. We got the 200-day at 86,300. We are looking pretty good for the next move higher. And of course, the next move higher would take us up towards 150K US dollars. Our previous high, of course, the all-time high and local high was pretty much the all-time record for Bitcoin, $109,358. Not bad. And as you guys know, we're expecting tons of cash to flow into crypto, and it won't take much to really lift this up. It's going to be pretty exciting, but you think of all the millionaires in the world, all the billionaires in the world, you think of the US government and all the other sovereign states, you think of the individual states in the United States, you think of all the institutions, the sovereign wealth funds, they're all able to play the Bitcoin game now. And that is massive. That wasn't always the case. It is the case now. And man, when they start playing, and we know that they're rushing to play, this thing's really going to take off. So bring it on. And we also know that it's probably another 10, maybe 10x here to gold's market cap. And of course, we know BlackRock's calling Bitcoin the digital gold. So it's just a matter of time here. And we're looking very excited. And of course, was it yesterday? I think I went through Trump's strategy, the three-legged chair, as I call it, but three-legged stool. And that's a chair, by the way, three-legged stool. And of course, that is going to be pretty bullish. And I'm just going to summarize that really quickly rather than going the whole thing. But the first leg is basically the tax bill that's going through. That's going to lower taxes and, of course, stimulate economic growth, and then eventually come back around on increasing the federal income. The second one, of course, is a deregulation and increasing leverage for small to medium banks in particular. That's going to be pretty big for the second leg. And the third leg, of course, is the World Trade Order is being reorganized. And that's going to be, moving back into at least somewhere around a balanced budget on the goods side. And of course, probably more importantly than just the deficit is actually bringing manufacturing and high-tech investment, which has been over $8 trillion so far in 100 days. So it's all looking pretty bullish, and about 115 countries lined up to do deals. And so we're expecting some big announcements over the next couple of months. And that should all those three legs of that strategy should be in place by 4th of July, and then it's just game on from there, right? Just a lot of construction, a lot of building out of infrastructure, etc., etc. It's going to be massive, right? And therefore, the golden age of America, golden age of stocks and crypto is ahead of us. So you guys are here at the right time, right place. I don't think there'll be any greater economy than what we'll see developed by Trump over the next four years. It's going to be pretty outstanding. And of course, the only little thing out there that he's got to get put more pressure on is lowering interest rates. He's already lowered oil by $20 a barrel. And of course, interest rates is the next one, right? Can you get that down? And of course, that is he's putting a lot of pressure on that to happen as well. All right, so that's kind of where we are with the strategy. So if we have the US economy booming, and then for the world economy eventually boom, we're also going to have the stock markets and crypto boom like we've never seen before. So we're here right at that takeoff time, really. 4th of July is kind of a key pivot point. So pretty excited. Now, Bitcoin ETFs, we've seen a lot of money coming in, obviously, with Bitcoin getting back up into the 90s. And so we can see here the ETFs have been coming in with a lot of money, which has been pretty cool. So, yeah, it's been, 442 million, almost $1 billion there, a couple of days. So we're heading in the right direction. Keep a lookout for these candles, because I think this is going to get even big. They're going to get ginormous. So we got the top of this mark here, 1.5 billion, but I think this is going to end up getting some silly numbers on the vertical axis. I don't know what they're going to be, but we could get 10 billion, candles or more on these candles here. It's going to be pretty exciting to see that play out as we move from a $3 trillion market to a $30 trillion market. It's going to be pretty crazy. Also, Michael Saylor, right? He's got these projections out in 2045 for $13 million Bitcoin. I kid you not, $30 million Bitcoin. And that's why he keeps on, leveraging up, selling stock and leveraging back up, adding to his asset, as we say, because he just knows where this is going. And it is game on. Like I say, all the players are ready to rumble. It's going to be pretty exciting. Now, the next one, of course, is Ethereum. Excuse me, Ethereum's been lagging, of course. Obviously, we're not in altcoin season. Ethereum's been underperforming. Even its own upgrades have been going against it, benefiting second layer protocols. And there's a lot of fair criticisms there. We also know Vitalik dumps ETH on everybody's heads as well every so often. So that's kind of where we are, and at the moment we're sitting under resistance. We're under the 50-day moving average, right? We're under the 50-day moving average, and here we are at $1,813. The 50-day moving average is showing quite a degree of resistance here, but this is possibly a real pressure cooker for when we really do move. As Bitcoin moves back over 100K, we're going to get this big move here. And of course, the catalysts coming up are these big trade deals coming up, right? India, Japan, South Korea, and other countries like that. The top 15 in particular are really going to be pretty positive news that builds on itself in the marketplace. And of course, we get that tax bill through too. Big deal, right? And the markets will really like that. Now, so we currently here, the 50-day is at 1854. We're only about $30 below that. So, and we've been here for some time. Look at that, we've been here for some time. Let's draw a little picture, as we like pictures. Who likes pictures? We're going to draw a little ellipse. Here's our latest picture we like to do, and we're going to draw a straight line here. Bam and bam. And then we're going to go woohoo! Don't you love that? I love that. Anyway, so we got it's arts and crafts on the Crypto Night Show. We got was a painting with Bob? Was it a famous painter? I can't remember, the American painter. We got that is kind of where we've been stuck there, and it's good, possibly a pressure cooker there. I think most likely and into the upside, right? So game on. And like I say, Trump's got to get it all in place by the 4th of July, and that is ticking away very slowly, right? So if we take the current day and we go all the way to the 4th of July. We are currently 60 days away by the time he has to have that in place. Now, I think he wants to really get it in before the end of June, and we shall see. And then maybe on the 7th of July, on the Monday, he will have some big announcement party. We'll see what happens there. Let's see how close we are to that with the accuracy. But that is kind of where we are. Also, the other big thing, of course, we are on the, I guess we're on the 4th of May for the Americans. It's currently the 5th of May here in New Zealand and Australia, of course, in the Pacific Islands. That's kind of where we live. But we've got the EIP upgrades, right? And that's a big deal. I don't know whether we might get a little blip move this week on Ethereum. So we could have quite a nice little jump, probably maybe on that'd be on the 7th. So we got 8th, 9th. So maybe on Thursday, we might see quite the jump here in New Zealand. On Wednesday in the United States with the EIP upgrade for Ethereum. That might give us a nice break above this 50-day moving average here. Of course, moving up to 200-day. 200-day at the moment is sitting, it's sitting about $2,440. So, if we can break with the EIP upgrade news between 2,000 and 2,100, then we might actually rally on up to that 2,400 mark for Ethereum. And it happens very quickly. You guys know that, right? You can see just back in some of the candles happen very quickly when it turns, right? So we've got this little downtrend and up it goes. And I think we're going to have the same thing here. Now, how much that plays out? Why is this EIP upgrade so important? Well, let's get into that, shall we? Shall we get into that? Because it's a big deal, right? Ethereum's Petra upgrade may boost ETH price 66%, which would be pretty awesome. And of course, here we got the Petra upgrade, scheduled for May the 7th, is poised to introduce significant improvements to the network, potentially reigniting interest and driving the price of ETH higher. The upgrade includes 11 Ethereum improvement proposals, or EIPs as we call them, aimed at enhancing scalability, user experience, and staking efficiency. And it's the staking one that we really want to look at, right? That's the one that we're really keen about. One of the standout features is EIP 7702, which allows externally owned accounts to temporarily act like smart contracts, enabling fee sponsorship and gas payments in tokens other than Ethereum. This could make Ethereum more user-friendly, right? So you're talking about gas payments and tokens other than Ethereum. I mean, think about that. That's pretty crazy. This could make Ethereum more user-friendly, lowering entry barriers and improving wallet functionality. This could actually create a lot of economic activity from that point of view, and make it a lot more bullish when you can apply other tokens, particularly in non-technical users in gaming, payments and mobile apps. So it's a pretty big deal. But I think this is kind of the far more probable one, which is going to be pretty exciting. I think this one is pretty good. But we also got on the staking side EIP 7251, 6110, and 7002. These are EIP upgrades. Will allow validators to hold up to 2,048 Ethereum instead of just 32 Ethereum. So you think about on PulseChain at the moment, we've got 32 million Pulse you need to stake. Well, here over on Ethereum, that's 32 ETH, right? And of course, they're going to be jumping up to 2,048 Ethereum instead of just 32. So it begs the question, will we get Breetep and other devs of Richard Hart, doing these upgrades that we haven't had? Are they going to do that, or do they see them? Do they see them as something that is devaluing Ethereum? Because we've seen Richard Hart do a lot of comments on Ethereum and just its approach to value. And so we'll see what happens in that space. But we may very well get suddenly, some big EIP upgrade catch up on the old PulseChain. That'd be pretty interesting to see. And maybe we'll get, some of the operational issues on PulseChain, are fixed up a little bit there, sped up a little bit there. Part of it, of course, to do with the quality of validators potentially. And we've seen, Katie from XUSD talking about spinning up some validators. So we'll see what happens in that space. On the staking side, of course, that's where we are. Simply onboarding and exit process. These changes are expected to simulate renewed engagement with institutional validators, and this is where the value uplift comes from, right? These institutions coming in, being able to scale up to 2048. I don't know whether it's going to be particularly useful, but I think maybe that bulk size of Ethereum staking may add some value in terms of scalability. Maybe that is a useful thing rather than 32. Who have been disappointed and started selling their ETH holders. That's the commentary here. You can either agree with it or not. The upgrade could also lead to more ETH being locked in validator nodes. I guess that's the hope, right? And if that's the case, then maybe more money will come in and buy more ETH and to stake it as well. So that's kind of the argument. We'll see how that plays out. Tightening the circulating supply and potentially and exerting upward pressure on the price. And that is kind of what people are really hoping that may happen here. And maybe it will be sustained. Maybe it will be short-lived. We shall see. Additionally, innovative wallet features could drive user adoption, increasing transaction throughput and accelerating ETH burning, which would reduce the supply even further. And so I guess argument this could come to PulseChain if the devs decide to actually do the EIP upgrades. We shall see. Despite the potential benefits of Petra upgrade, its impact on ETH price may take time to materialize. However, the tech upgrade could provide the narrative ETH needs to regain momentum. The other side of this is built on top of any move in Bitcoin, right? Which has obviously been moving up quite nicely. We'll see what happens there as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So that is some of the upside there. We've got some commentary on the price. ETH appears to have already formed a local bottom with the weekly RSI breaking out of the downward trend on April the 20th. So another reason for the ETH price to have a rally. And we're currently, as we said, below that 50-day. Well, hopefully it's a bit of a pressure cooker and we're about to blow to the up and to the right. Maybe this catalyst will help for sure. And of course, wiped out as much as 60% of ETH value. The new uptrend could be underway, but it remains to be seen whether Petra will be its trigger. Historically, Ethereum upgrades have often coincided with short-lived price spikes that failed to create momentum. However, the market cycle is now in its third year, similar to 2021, when Ethereum's Berlin and London upgrades helped fuel a major bull run. And so this might actually end up being their catalyst. If history rhymes, Petra could sync with the broader market rally and Ethereum return to strength. Looking ahead, the Fusaka hard fork scheduled for late 2025 could add further upside potential to Ethereum there. So a nice little write-up there about the EIP upgrades. That's coming up this week, right? So that looks like for Wednesday US time. And let's see what happens. Could be an amazing week. Yeah, last week was amazing for stock market. Let's see if it's amazing for Ethereum and altcoins a bit. And it's about time we got some love, right? Although, we'll see what happens with the dominance from Bitcoin there. So that's kind of our update on the markets. We're going to get into PulseChain, though, which is kind of our main content. And we're going to get into some very big alpha stuff here today. If you have not shared the channel around, get it to share it around now because we're going to go through this PulseChain stuff. Join the socials. There's the links there. And, of course, share the channel around on X there as well. And if you're on Rumble and YouTube, do the same. Repost and share. That would be great. Now, we've got a couple of people in the house. We've got Diamond Hands. Good to see you, Diamond Hands. Hope you're doing well. We've got crypto. We've got crazy calls with the rockets. I like the sentiment there. That's how we're feeling as well. We've got Bar Hops in the house. They're the man, the legend, and crazy calls. I love that. And we got crazy calls in the house. Yeah. We are all, what's that? We all are. Thank you. You are a legend. Kryptonite Show is a legend. A big shout out to you guys, having a lot of fun in the chat there. And of course, Brian as well. It's in the house. Brian's one of our 2 community leaders, along with Wookie. Big shout out to you, Brian. Appreciate it. And I know he's about to go on a road trip or something like that. So he's excited about that. Getting ready to hope it's not a Dumber and Dumber road trip, Brian, and it's more like a smarter and smarter road trip. I'm sure it will be. And he'll probably stop off at the old what's those places where they do the country line dancing. He'll probably stop off there and have a few beers there or something. What else we got next in the house there? Hello, PulseChainers and crypto fam in general. Big shout out to Next. Now, I just want to say something about Next. Next is so amazing at doing graphics. So big shout out to Next. You are incredible. May the 4th be with you. Well, definitely the 4th is with you there, Next. Big shout out there. Baby Dragon X on ETH, built on Dragon X. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, Baby Dragon X, man, that could end up really doing a big move. Once Titan X and Dragon X really move, Baby Dragon X could really fire, and that's for sure. What else we got there? Let's have a look. We got Next says PLS 1-to-1 with ETH. I like where you're heading with that. That's pretty crazy, but I love it. What else there? Brian says it's 4 million to run on ETH validated now, and that's ETH at 2,000. Yeah, and look, I mean, these guys have got big money, Brian. That's sort of nothing to them, eh? So I bring it on for these institutions, and we're going to have so much money coming on here. It's going to be crazy. Remember, crypto is a pretty small market for these big players. It's I mean, even BlackRock. What's BlackRock doing? 10, maybe $15 trillion a year. They say 10, I think, but it's probably more than that now. So yeah, it's just it's peanuts to some of these institutions. I know it's less just doing the easy math, says Brian. I try to make it easier and easier road trip, hitting the road a day after night. Nice. We're excited for you, Brian. It's going to be great. I mean, who doesn't like to go on a good road trip, right? Who doesn't like to go on a good road trip? Kryptonite is rising star on PulseChain. Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate that. Next, big shout out to you. I saw a list actually. I think RX Max posted a list of PulseChain influencers, and I don't think I was on there. I said I think there's something missing with this list. So anyway, that was a bit of fun. We've got to laugh at yourself, right? You got to laugh at yourself. That's the way it goes. Franklin said Sparta on PulseChain room bought me here. Hey, big shout out, Franklin. So yeah, Sparta's on PulseChain has been doing pretty well. A relatively new entrant, but of course they burn Sparta and they also buy Hex, and they're going to burn the Hex later on. So it's a pretty interesting move there. And Sparta has come out strong, pretty strong out of the gate with a pretty strong community there. So big shout out to you, Franklin, from the Sparta Telegram group. Big shout out. All right, so there we go. Let's give some love to the projects on PulseChain. Now we're going to move on into PulseChain. This is the heavyweight stuff that we get into the main event now. We're going to go through the markets quickly, and then we're going to get into the big alpha drop informations. And of course, these you got to save these to your favorites, right? This is the whole point. I go through these because I want people to have the best information, and you can save these to your favorites on Chrome or whatever, and you can go through them. And I'll give the pros and cons a little bit, tips here and there on each of them based on my experience and experience I've seen with others. So you can check that out. All right, so let's get into the results. So on PulseChain here on Sunday in the US, it's Monday down under here in New Zealand, Australia, and we've got day 724 since PulseChain launched, and that was on the 13th of May, 2023. 724 days later, can you believe it? It's pretty crazy. We've pretty much got PulseChain just up slightly, almost flat, but it's just up slightly today. Quadruple 0256, sitting at 26% of the mean sacrifice price there. We've got PulseX at the moment up almost 1%, sitting at quadruple 0205. We've got the buy and burn at the moment sitting, I don't even know if this has been updating because it always looks kind of the same the last couple of days. We've got this sitting around about 1.4 trillion, let's say 7.07% of the PulseX has been bought up and burned. And of course, we've heard Richard Hart, comment on that, on X recently, and as he does regularly on the PulseX buy and burn. We've got incentive token there, $1.11, up 1%, and we've got the incentives, the supply around about 55 million, and of course the inflation is super low now, only 5% of what it used to be. It's currently 0.03 ink tokens per second, and that's about 2,600 a day, so very low inflation now on there. And of course, everyone's asking, what will happen to the MasterChef contract? Will it be handed over to the people, and we'll have a public DAO there? Will we get single-side staking? All that sort of stuff could potentially come through. We know that Richard Hart recently talked about forking a wallet as well. So Richard Hart's whole roadmap coming back into the fray here. And so we'll see what happens in the space. He's definitely been updating a lot of things. The PulseChain.com site updated, refreshed. We've had obviously pump tires come out. We've had PulseX and incentive token inflation slashed. It's been, the liquidity pools are thinned out. Really is. Once it gets that turning momentum, man, we're going to see some fun on the chain. Now, speaking of that, we had about 150 ETH come over. It brought up some ink today with a bit of that ETH. So, we had some good money coming in. After yesterday, of course, we had that 400,000 go out, which apparently is going to come back in anyway. They're from Katie and the XUSD team. So we'll see what happens in that space too. We got Hex at the moment sitting at 51 hundredths of a penny, down 3.8%. We've got EHEX at the moment at 19 hundredths of a penny after its little rally it had, about a week ago. And so we've got the price of EHEX and PX sitting at 7/10 of a penny. So still, we got bargain prices, still accumulation zone, still DCA zone. And of course, Richard Hart bit the ECC. And of course, Interpol's probably not too far away because, that was the most ridiculous claim from Interpol that we've ever seen in our lives. But that's kind of where we are here on the results. Let's have a look at the gas prices. We've had pretty low gas prices after the last couple of days. Obviously, on the lower volume as well. We've been, had the lower volume around $12 million. And we're sitting at 1.9 million beats, a little bit higher than the last couple of days, but still pretty good value. 2 cents for a PulseX swap at the moment. Now, looking at the validators, we definitely had about 3,000 validators go offline the other day. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those, but at the moment we're sitting just below 46,000 validators. And as we say, the quality over quantity, right? Quality over quantity there. The bridge at the moment sitting at 81.3 million, pretty similar to yesterday from memory. I think it was pretty similar. I don't think we were under 81. I think we were around this mark yesterday. So it looks like pretty much no change there, pretty much. And of course, we see PulseChain prices kind of softening out there at the moment. Obviously, we've got the ETH and the wrap Bitcoin down slightly, but I think we've got a little bit of improvement in some of the in the EHEX there, or at least that's down a bit. But it's pretty similar nevertheless on that mark. Now I'm just having a look through here. I was expecting us to see a little bit of a move on Coast. Coast, of course, has recently added euros to the mix there that you can use to get into CSD stablecoin, and they've also added new banking setups that you can get your fiat to crypto faster as well. So you definitely got to check out Coast. We're going to talk about that shortly because that's one of our major on-ramps on PulseChain, direct on-ramps to the PulseChain. Now, I just wanted to talk quickly about Steve Hson. Now, Steve Hson here has been in Miami. Now, if you guys know, Steve Hson is the front man for Rakan Michelle, our biggest whale on PulseChain, number one PulseX and PulseChain sacrificer, and Steve Hson's kind of his investment analyst guy. He checks stuff and says, "Is this good for adding portfolio, etc." Now you can see them last night. They were in Miami at the Jets and Capital event, and of course having a good time. And you got to love the Jets and the fast cars. That was them at Miami. So a big shout out to Steve Hson. The other thing, of course, is Rakan Michelle put a little teaser out about the fact that he put a little teaser out there on the fact that he someone asked, where's Richard Hart, and the Rakan was like replying, well, we can't say. So like they got some insider information about where Richard is and all that. So it's very plausible. They are in the right kind of little click here on PulseChain. PulseChain has all these little sub communities, right? And so they got their own little one there. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they had some idea of Richard, maybe not where Richard is exactly, but what he's up to. Let's say. So that is kind of cool on that one. Now that's kind of where we're at. We've got next in the house. There's no pulse without PulseChain. Hope RH keeps that pulse up. Absolutely next. And of course, apparently Rakan Michelle knows a little bit about what he's at least up to. We got next says, anyone else that have that feeling that Hex is sleeping Godzilla? We just need some of that radiation coming in. Absolutely. And of course, the next has got the latest token here on the chemistry on the periodic table is Radon, is full of radiation. It's definitely been doing pretty well in the last day and a half, isn't it? It's been around, so doing pretty well there. Got a pretty good community. It seems well on the old Radon. So big shout out to you guys over there on Telegram. Radion. Right, so that's kind of cool. In fact, should we go have a look for Rakan Michelle? Let's go have a look for Rakan Michelle. And let's see if I can find that little comment that he made, because it's a little perler. It's a little perler on there, and I think it's on the replies here. So even he's saying like very nice there. So we'll give a little like there. So RX Max here. Let's zoom in on this. RX Max here says, say your friend asks you how Richard Hart is going these days. What do you say? And Rakan goes, that I am sworn to secrecy. How about that? That I'm still in secrecy. So, a little bit of teaser there from Rakan Michelle right now, which I think is pretty hilarious. We got Tyndall 10 and House Treasury yields, both PHEX and EHEX, just for holding. Absolutely. Doing very well there as well. Now, I think Radon does, is it EDI? Next, let me know. Is it EDI for Radon? So, there's a couple of good projects, right? You got Sparta giving, buying HEX a little bit. You got Treasury yields, you both PHEX and EHEX. And then you got Radon, I think, doing a stable coin. These are kind of cool tokenomic designs. I think these are preferred tokenomic designs, yielding some of these quality things. We talked about, of course, King Token the other day, of course, doing most token, Teddy takeover, and PulseX, right? I think these are really quality tokens that some of these teams are coming up with in terms of yielding. So it's I like that direction as well. So pretty neat there. All right, so let's move on, and we're going to get into the total market cap. $11.9 million in volume, so it's similar to what we've had the last 3 days, maybe 4 days. We've been down at this level, around 12 million. And of course, at the moment, we've got about 306,000 transactions. That's actually a little bit lower. We're heading down to the low end, 300,000. Normally we're up somewhere, 330, 370 to 400 on the sort of average volumes. And at the moment, we're doing about 306,000 transactions here. Now, looking at some of the top movers there, we've got this new token Hex of the Dragon. This has been around for only 9 hours. So remember, I'm not endorsing any of these. We're just talking about what's performing on Deck Screen as standard 6-hour trending here, right, over the 24 hours. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. So that is up at the moment. That is 646%. We get these every day, right? A couple of these. Some of them might have very clever tokenomics. Some of them are just, just come out of nowhere. You just never know your luck with them. But that is Dragon at the moment. We'll have a quick look at that since it's on our leaderboard here today. But that's kind of flattened out. Looks like it's had a nice, it's on the hourly chart. Looks like it's rally out there. Let's see if it's got a description quickly. There is no war there. I'm just having a look through here. Users can earn rewards in 3 tokens, Dragon, PHEX, and EHEX there. So you got another project there, giving out these sort of tokens at the moment. They seem to have a website and Twitter handle there. On this one is Dragon. Now we've got to have a look out there. We've got RSI oversold. That's been around for 2 months. I think this is a pump tires, if I remember rightly. Could double check that, but this is up 26% at the moment. Nice little rebound. And of course, here's the heavyweight, right? Heavyweight is Soil token. Sun Mini Meal is the new fork token of Soil. And boy, is it doing well, up 22%. And you guys know why. It just got pumped. Let's look at the hourly chart. When did it get pumped? It got pumped 3 hours ago. And boy, it was down at 41/100ths of a cent. It has just had quite a bit of capital come in. We're looking at what, 25, 40. We're looking at $50,000 of capital in the last 3 hours, and it has pumped it all the way to 5.2 cents. This is one of our heavyweights, right? Because this is a blue chip, and if they're going to be funneling in, capital from their sales that they make, I think it's 20%, and it's going to be funneling in to burn the Soil token here, and the fixed distribution, right? It's a fixed amount. So keep a lookout for this. This could get insane with the price here. Not fun, do your own due diligence, but man, this is queuing up here. This is a big, European food, superfood here coming from Sun Mini Meal. And of course, we've got Banksa is coming up there. I'm going to talk about that. That's one of our topics. So that is going pretty good there. And, I've been talking about this from the beginning, right? I think, the only one as an influencer, there are community people that talk about it. But as an influencer, we're talking about this. And I think this is just going to be huge. And so far, it's playing out very, very well. We've got Secret Conspiracy there at the moment. Been around for 22 days, up 7.5%. Doing pretty well there. Dominance, of course, came back yesterday, did well. The printer tokens is up today again, 9%. And then we've got Beast. Actually, it looks like Beast may have reached the bottom. Beast, one of the printer tokens. The yield, I think, is maximum 0.5% at the moment. So it's definitely come down. The yield's been up really high at some stages, at 6%, maybe even higher than that on the old Beast token here. And it's part of the OG web chef, right? Dominance and Beast. And we've got Savant as well. So the printer token's coming back a little bit, very modest, but coming back a little bit from their sell-offs. They all had quite big sell-offs here. And these are on our alpha list, right? But they are the riskier side, right? Because they're printer tokens. Just take that into account. So they are based on volume going through. The team, can switch between protocols as well. We also had down markets in PulseChain. So they all impact. They're also very big players in these as well. They earn very big yields. So you've got to take that into account. So there's some of the secret sources there around printer tokens that you have to keep in mind when you're getting involved with them. But they can pay out pretty well. Especially if you get in relatively early, and you can get your money back and then some if you're doing it well. Once again, still speculative though. Take that into account. So yeah, Beast token there, $1.71. We got Savant at the moment is up 4% as well, 80 cents, another printer token. Gas Money, another printer token. So the printer tokens here are just behind these top four here. We've got all these printer tokens in a row. Gas Money up 4%, Missor up 4%, and those are all our printers there from OG WebChef. And then we're coming down into our DEX. So we're going to be talking about DEXs. We've got 9mm here, of course, the second biggest DEX after PulseX on DEX Screener. This excludes PH or Famous or PHUX as we call it, fork of Balancer, right? Fork of Balancer over on PulseChain. There's 9mm here, up 3.6%. We've got Jupiter up 3%. It's been around for 7 months. We've got Teddy Takeover, and I talked about this with the King token the last couple of days. They pay out in Teddy. One of the tokens is Teddy Bear. That's up 3% there. We got SolidX, of course, coming from our other big whale. We talked about Rakan Michelle. Well, we got Firewhale out there too. Randy Alaski's whale friend here, one of the biggest whales on PulseChain, and he is got SolidX there. This is going to be exciting too, right? We talked about Soil and Sunday Mini-Meal, but this is also going to be huge. This could potentially be a big viral crypto casino where they're waiting for their online casino license. They're going to be one of the few decentralized casinos on a in the crypto generally with a casino license for gambling. So that's going to be massive. And SolidX at the moment currently on discount at $7.43. You guys know it's been up towards $11 recently, and so now is a pretty good opportunity to check it out. But also use your RSI to make good judgments about entries and exits there. So pretty cool. We've got Doubt token, another pump tires. That's up 2.5% there. PulseX, of course, is up. X token here, been around for 8 months. That's up 2%. So we've got a few little markets here. Obviously, incentive token as well. PulseX there, 1.5 loan token from Liquid Loans, the big heavyweight. This is the third biggest sacrifice after PulseChain and PulseX was Liquid Loans, $52 million. What have they launched so far? They've launched the multi-sig wallet, right? So PulseChain, was it PulseChain? Just normally remember this, but PulseChain Link, what's it called? Damn, I've forgotten. Normally this runs off the top of my head, but PulseChain X, is it? I just can't remember that. But they've launched a multi-sig site there, and it'll probably come to me after the live stream, typical thing. And they've also launched Fetch Oracle, right? The first Oracle on PulseChain, and also launched Liquid Loans Liquidity Fork there. So it's pretty cool. Let me know in the chat if you guys remember what the Liquid Loans multi-sig was, a platform I just forgotten off the top of my head. So we got, what else? We got all those on the move here, all up 1%. We got PDC, the Greys moving up a little bit there, 1%. So we've got a few little minor moves going on in PulseChain, and maybe that's a bit of a reprieve from the last couple of days. We've had slightly down days, probably for at least 3 days, if I remember rightly. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And like I say, some of the highlights here, Sun Mini Meal, that's going to be a highlight right now. So we're going to check that out too. So let's get into it, and let's get into the main topic of the show, which is going to be pretty fun here. And I'm going to post the links because I want you guys to hold on to these so you don't lose them, and definitely share them around to your friends on PulseChain, because this is, we could bring a lot of good information, and these are pretty much exclusive lists, right? So these are all up to date, and you can check it out, that's for sure. All right, so we've got a couple more comments. Next says EDI on Radeon, but PHEX and EHEX on Hearts Treasury, still yielding for pace trainers. That's from Next. Thank you, Kryptonite. Keep doing what you're doing. We need more people like you, or more of you. Hey, thanks, Next. Appreciate that. And of course, a good night, PulseChain. Hey, Next, we'll catch you on the telegrams later on. All right, cheers. All right, so let's get into it. So this is the first post, right? So these are not in order of when I posted them, but just the order that I think they should be talked about. So we've got these major on-ramps onto PulseChain now. In our Discord, we have a crypto helpline. We're the only ones I'm aware of that have a crypto helpline. We have moderators and other people that that help answer questions that people have. People posting questions in there all the time, and we try to help them as best as we can. And so, yeah, major on-ramps to PulseChain is a topic that a lot of people ask about. Now, we've got Banxa coming up. This is coming up on Monday, the 5th of May. This is US time, of course, pretty much, US time. And that is coming up. So this is probably within the next 24 hours. We're probably going to have Banxa launch their global access to PulseChain directly. So, we've had a few issues with the bridge, right, between when the GUI gets like over 5 million, it seems to shut down, and it can get clogged up with a lot of transactions as it needs to be processed. But Sunday Mini is going to offer another direct, and I can't not emphasize that enough, a direct on-ramp onto PulseChain through Banxa. And of course, they provide this for other services as well out there. And so this is going to be pretty exciting with the Sunny Mini Meal bringing Banxa on board to PulseChain. Now it's going to be up to 5 minutes of time to get people onboarded. This is potentially a lot of new people, not crypto pros, not you guys out there that are living the dream in crypto, but people that are relatively novice that may not even know much about it. They're going to be able to get onto PulseChain within 5 minutes, and it's going to be global access as well. Now the Soil token is going to be pretty popular, I would imagine, and of course something like up to 20% of the revenues or 20% of revenues is going to be used to burn that token off, if I'm understanding correctly. And of course they just did an update today. It's in German, so I couldn't really use it, but that is pretty exciting. They seem to be pretty excited. They're always putting in their corporate updates. And of course, this is about to launch on the 5th of May here. So we expect some pretty big things there. It's currently $220 million of value. Well, is that going to get up into the billions of dollars? Sun Mini one of the great stories on PulseChain. And of course, it's going to bring only a lot of new people, but a lot of new capital to PulseChain. And that's the big deal, right? So get excited. It's a huge deal there. Now, legacy, we've also got, when I say legacy, these are pretty much existing players. So not legacy in the sense that they're in the old tech, but actually just been around. And of course, Coast has been a champion, right? Coast has been our direct fiat on-ramp to PulseChain, in addition to the official PulseChain bridge. And of course, you can bridge on fiat US dollars onto Coast stable, but they've now just introduced just the last day or two, introduced euros as well. So you can use euros and the Coast. And of course, they've also enabled more financial avenues to get your crypto on faster now too. So Coast is pretty awesome. Let's quickly check out Coast while we can, because this is obviously one of our heavyweights, and they've brought on $9.6 million worth of capital on PulseChain. So it's a pretty big deal. And they've just had some more announcements recently. So we're going to quickly talk about a couple of these, because I think this is one of the more important ones. They also have a referral program as well. You get, I think, 5,000 weight tokens. So this is pretty exciting. So yeah, local bank transfer is now live for GBP, so British pounds, euros, and Canadian dollars. So you can send that to your accounts as well. So they're looking pretty cool. Now let's just jump through some of this other stuff here. A big news for UK, deposit directly in pounds. So they've added pounds, euros, Canadian dollars. So these are really expanding their offerings here. Get your money onto PulseChain faster than ever. Local bank transfer is also now available for Coast and for Europe, Canada, and the UK. So this is really massive. I'm not sure if Brian, you can post your Coast link there. Brian's been posting his Coast link, but definitely put that in the chat there, Brian, if you're watching. We've got Mint Coast there with USD and stay stable on chain. Coast is redeemable, transparent, and built for DeFi. So this is a major victory here. Advanced users can lock their weight tokens that you get as well. If you do referrals, every person you referral, you get 5,000 weight tokens. So it's kind of cool. Receive discounts up to 75% too if you're staking your weight tokens or locking your weight tokens on your transactions as well. So it's a great way of reducing your costs and a pretty efficient way of that. So Coast has been absolutely masterful, and that's Brian's link there. So if you haven't joined up to Coast and you want to have an avenue of bringing on fiat, US dollars, euros, pounds, Canadian dollars, things like that, this is a great way of doing it. And of course, you get back onto the chain with the CST stablecoin, the only backed stablecoin of fiat on the PulseChain. So very important, that CST. Just remember that is Coast stablecoin. And $9.6 million has come on so far. So pretty awesome there. And a big shout out to Brian there. Let's have a look at the next one there. Obviously, PulseChain official bridge. You guys will be used to this, right? It's IPFS, so it's a decentralized. And you can click on these and download that, right? So you just go there and you'll get the bridge, right? You get the bridge. You click on this and you'll be able to bridge stuff over. So it's pretty exciting. So when you're bridging stuff over to the chain, you won't have any troubles, right? So there's no fees, but I think if you're bridging out, there's a 0.3% fee. Just remember that. But it works pretty well. Can take up to maybe half an hour. But when the GWAI gets high, like over 5 million or so, it can sort of be paused, and so things can backlog quite a bit sometimes. But estimated time 30 minutes, and it's generally works pretty well. And of course, there's validators that sit behind and bridge it over from Ethereum to PulseChain and back again. Pretty awesome. Users without native Pulse in their address often receive free Pulse for gas when bridging to PulseChain. So you shouldn't have any problem by the time you get to PulseChain if you're brand new over on PulseChain as well. As opposed to having, wrap Pulse or something like that, you can get native Pulse. So that's kind of cool. That is the official bridge. That's kind of the main bridge if you're going to use that. A lot of people use that all the time. But if you want to use Coast as a way of getting on with fiat from your bank, then it's a great opportunity as well. PulseLN is fantastic. PulseLN is the one that I don't know if how many people use it, but it's fantastic here. And let me just pull up the app here because this is super fast, particularly if you're going to certain chains like BNB. It's not always open, so there won't always be trading pairs. And this technology is a little bit different. I think they use on-chain to on-chain, so they have their own wallets with their own token amounts in each of them. I think that's how they do it. And so you're going to get a certain ratio. Always check that your ratio is good, but it's super fast, right? And so yeah, that's kind of a couple of tips. They do have quite a few token opportunities here. So typically BNB to Pulse is very good. And of course, there's a number of other chains here, Ethereum and things like that. But you just have to see whether they are online or anything particular time, right? So if you've got these 3 green dots, you know it's online, right? So BNB to Pulse is online. It's got 3 dots there. If you go back the other way, Pulse and BNB are online too. Sometimes the Pulse to BNB is not always online. And so maybe it's just because they don't have the funds on chain each time. Because I think that's pretty much how to do it, because they do it instantly. So it's got to be on chain to on chain. In other words, they have their own wallets and they have certain liquidity they get from back and forth through trading. And that's probably how they do it. And maybe sometimes they buy certain tokens that they think they're going to need. That maybe that's the way they're doing it, is my guess. And so that's kind of where we are at the moment. Pulse BNB. So this is super fast, lightning fast from chain to chain. And I cannot say, I've just had a fantastic experience with PulseLN, and it's lightning fast. Bam! You're not waiting up to 30 minutes on the bridge, and it just depends on the tokens you're using. But yeah, you can check it. It's far more dynamic in terms of offerings, and just always check that you're getting good rate, on deck screen or something like that. That's the only thing I would say. Most of the time you're fine, but every so often maybe the rates can get a bit off kilter there, possibly due to the amount of tokens they have relative to each other in the pool there. But definitely PulseLN looking pretty good. Swapspace, of course, is a pretty corporate one in crypto, right? Everyone's heard of Swapspace. Now they have changed now: StealthX, NanSwap, and SimpleSwap. So SwapX will route it through the best operator and provide you the best alternatives. You can select the one you want. It also depends on the amount of time you're going to have. Now, the one thing with Swapspace and ChangeNow, particularly ChangeNow, is you must send exactly the right token. You must send the exactly right amount. Otherwise, they will charge you $50 for getting it. And they'll also cause you a lot of problems. It would be days and days. You could be waiting, maybe even a week or two. So just remember that if you don't get the right token and the right amount, it could be a problem for you, right? So just remember that. Be very careful using those platforms. Other than that, they're very good. They deliver pretty well. And so Swapspace will give you opportunities there. You can go through all those 4. That's particularly between Pulse and Ethereum, right? Those are, I think, the 2 main pairs. I don't think they offer you any cross-chain, Ethereum to Pulse chain other than Pulse and ETH from memory. So that's just a Pulse ETH there if you're transferring back and forward. Now there's Portal X as well. Now Portal X is from Power City, and it's a pretty good a chain. It does, I think it does on-chain and cross-chain. So in this case, cross-chain. It allows you to do that, but I think they're using ChangeNow essentially. Now, the one reason why you'd use that, not only is it quite useful, it's on multi-chain, so it has a lot more chains, not just dealing one, so it's really useful for them. But number 2 is that you'd end up feeding some of the Power City products with the fees, right? The fees go into there, so you're kind of contributing into that as well. And it seems to work pretty well, actually, for the most part. So you can check that. Has more, I think you can do certain tokens as well, so you can play around with that and see what fits. But definitely Pulse to Ethereum is definitely there, and maybe a few other tokens. You can check that out. And it has multi-chains, like a lot of chains, tons of chains on there, so it's pretty useful like that. So Portal X from Power City doing pretty well, and it's also part of that Power City products there. Now we've also got Gibbs Finance, and I think that's the one that Richard Hart talks about a lot about, right? The old Gibbs Finance is the Richard Hart, I think, posts this one. I have not used this one myself, but this is also got the play. But let's have a quick look at. We won't look at these ones ChangeNow, or we actually we'll just pick out ChangeNow quickly just before we move on too fast here. So this is ChangeNow. That is, if you're going to be doing a swap on there. And like I say, you can pick up, like Pulse and put that in there. And then you can have ETH there, right? So maybe you're going to do, I don't know, 10 million Pulse or something. Is that amount there? I've got a maximum amount. So this does have a minimum and maximum. You will come across that depending on the platform too. Just remember that. So you might have to do multiple transactions. And then you definitely have to check the rate that you're getting as well. So this one here, we've got how many? 1 million Pulse tokens here. It's going to give us 0.01. So these will depend on what you're doing. So maybe this is too small and you want to do a big amount, then you're going to have to probably go to the PulseChain bridge or something like that, right? So go back to that as the play there. Just remember there's a little fee exiting PulseChain, 0.3%, if I remember rightly, on the old official bridge. Now, Swapspace, of course, we got that, so we can talk about that. Portal X, let's quickly look at this. This is, like I said, it's got a really good interface, team's pretty well established. One of our biggest sacrifice projects, of course, is Power City, and you can obviously connect your wallet and you'll be able to trade around there. I'm not sure why I'm having problems with the UI there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm having a bit of problem there with the UI. This is probably just, I don't know what's causing that. But let's see here. Yeah, well, anyway, you can select, so it'll probably work for you. Unfortunately, I've never seen this happen to me before, but it's not showing up at the moment. But you can select the tokens and then, select the bridge and the tokens, and you can do the swaps here. I'm not sure what's happening there. All right, so we've got Gibbs Finance there as well. So let's have a quick look. This one is the one I think Richard Arts posted this before, and this has a swap as well, right? So swap, and you can swap tokens from chain to chain here. So you can play around with this. I haven't really used this myself, so just take note of that. But, it's got opportunities here as well, and you can pick the tokens. I'm not sure whether I've overheated my cooked my computer or what, but there's you can normally do swap tokens on there as well. So Onramps to Ethereum, and so you can pick that. So it's got Onramps to Ethereum, and I'm just trying to see what's going on here with the. I'm not sure what this. Yeah, it's gone blank for some reason. I'm not sure. That probably won't happen to you. Something's going not quite right there, but you get the idea, and you can swap over there. The other one, of course, is SparkSwap. Now, this one, now we're getting down to this level. We kind of get, these are used less, so that I'm aware of. Maybe some people use them a lot, but SparkSwap was a pretty big, a DeFi platform on PulseChain. Now the liquidity's gone right down, so you definitely, if you want to look at that, you're gonna have to definitely check it, but there may be a little bit of opportunity there. Sometimes with these smaller dexes, and they've got a bigger DeFi platform where the dexes and dex are running on smaller liquidity pools. So maybe they're not running through like all the liquidity pools; they're just running through their own liquidity pools. You may get a better deal sometimes, and sometimes if the main chain is clogged. So let's say we've got a really down moving market, right? It's really bad. Everyone's selling down, and you're paying high gas prices through the roof, and you basically can't do a swap, right? Even on Dex Screener, on Batias, you're not being able to do swap. Well, some of these may be able to, do it faster, and it's particularly so when we get to Dex Aggregators. But just taking into account, so SparkSwap there, you can do that as well. So let's have a quick look at their bridge. So this is their SparkSwap bridge. You can see network PulseChain. They've got other networks to Arbitrum, and of course you can select particular tokens. So you might have to play around with that a little bit and see what else they got there. We've got Pulse. And maybe select it around. They got BSC. So we talked about a lot of these chains going from Pulse to Ethereum. Well, this one here goes to BSC and Arbitrum. We saw PulseLN go to BNB. So depending on which chain you're going, different tokens might, different platforms may be more useful than others, right? So that's why it's good to have the whole list, and you can get an idea of what you want to do there. And sometimes playing around a little bit. Now, what I suggest to you, if you're a bit unsure, because even some of these ones I don't play around with that much myself, is that you can just do a little test, right? Just a little amount, maybe the very minimum amount's always a good way of doing that. And if that gets to your wallet correctly, so you're going from one wallet on one chain to another, and that little amount works, then you can do a bigger amount, right? And then that's kind of the play to do. A little test there, a little tip, a practical tip. Now we've also got EMP as well, so let's have a quick look at that bridge. And so EMP is here as well. I haven't used this either, but this is here as well. Now it's got Pulse as default and Ethereum. So it's kind of cool, and I guess you can go, max balance there, put in the tokens, and see what you get on the other side, and estimated trade, insufficient balance, etc. Obviously, I'm not connected to the wallet, and so that's kind of their cross-chain bridge. They've also got a native bridge as well, which essentially is, I guess, on-chain, and of course that is the cross-chain one there. And like I say, I haven't really played around with it. This is the full site here for EMP one here, but like I say, if you're using a TGM wallet and do a bit of test, you can play with that. Other than that, I haven't used it myself, so I just want to be, cautious about that. So that is kind of EMP Seal. Seems pretty reasonable looking. And of course, then we've got Token X as well. I think this is all out on the official bridge. So if you go to, I think the official PulseChain website, I think Token X is on that side, if I remember rightly. So it seems to be, on the official PulseChain stuff. We've got Ethereum and BSC bridge to PulseChain. So this gives you another Ethereum BSC. So you can see out of all these bridges, we've got a couple of Ethereum bridge ones there. I think we saw one with Arbitrum. So there are a couple options there. And of course, PulseLN as well. So I think this is something for everybody. And a lot of those chains are the main ones people will deal with: BSC, Arbitrum, Ethereum, kind of some of the main ones that people will use, right? So that's kind of cool. That is the token there. Now let's go back into that site and have a look at the website itself. This is the link here. So you got Ethereum network and the PulseChain network. You got Pulse and Pulse. Like I say, you will have to make sure you get the right token swaps on there. But that is kind of cool. Now, Ethereum, of course, has some Pulse and PulseX and Hex pairs, right, on Ethereum, as opposed because when you put stuff over the bridge, right, on the official bridge, you're getting a wrap version, another contract, right? So it gets locked in the bridge on one side, and then you get issued a new contract for that token on the other side, right, on the PulseChain side. That's basically the way most of the technology works on the official PulseChain bridge here. And of course, you can actually see what tokens are in that bridge through the contract that the bridge has, right? So it's got all those tokens locked up, that $81 million worth locked up pretty much in that bridge, right? So that's kind of the play there. So that is the pretty much, I think, pretty definitive list of the on-ramps onto PulseChain. And so, yeah, if you've seen one that's not on this list, let me know. But I have not seen any others that I'm aware of. So definitely check that out. And that is the first list there. So that is pretty much the major on-ramps to PulseChain. And we're about to get that big new one. I mean, I cannot understate how important that is. The old Banxa one there, definitely going to be a massive compliment to the official PulseChain bridge, to the Coast one, and to some of those other popular ones like PulseLN. It's going to be pretty important there, Portal X, etc. So I think that's going to be pretty neat there. So this is the on-ramps. On-ramps list. So let me drop that. And save this to your favorites, and definitely share it around to people that are in PulseChain. If they're in PulseChain, you've now got a list that people can share. Many of you will have played around with a lot of these bridges, so you know which ones you like. There's a couple of little tidbits there. Make sure you got the right tokens. Do a little test if you're not sure. Those are some of the little practical things that you can do. But definitely make sure you got the right tokens, and do a little test if you're not sure. Obviously, the major ones like PulseChain Bridge, we know that's fine. Coast is fine. PulseLN's fine. Banksa's going to be probably fine. All that sort of stuff. Change Now, all those ones are pretty fine. Just got to make sure you got the right tokens. Once you get down past maybe Portal X, you got Gibbs Finance. Richard Hart, I think's talked about that. Token X is on the official channel. But once you get down to Spark Swap is being a good one. But I'm not sure. The swap, the bridge is probably fine. But if you're doing into LP pools, there maybe it's pretty low on the liquidity now. So just make sure check that out. I think that's pretty much it on my comments on that. So that is the on-ramps list. So that is pretty cool. And so that's our first one. Now we're going to get into the second one, right? Which is swap protocols on PulseChain. Obviously, another chief thing. If you're playing around PulseChain, first of all, you got to get the money on, right? That's the on-ramps. You got to get the money off. That's the off-ramps. We've talked about that. The next thing you're going to be actually on PulseChain. What different dexes and dex aggregators can you use to swap tokens on PulseChain once you're there? And that's kind of the next step, right? So that's kind of where we are here. And so this is the top swap protocols on PulseChain. There are a couple that I have not got on this list just because even though one in particular is a new one, it's got a lot of volume, but I don't know who founded it. It's got a very similar code to 9mm, but it's pretty anonymous. And so I didn't really put that on the list because it's, I don't know who it is. And I just a little bit nervous about doing that. So you can understand why. But at the moment, we're going to go through all the ones that have been around for a long time and talk about those. So we've got top swap protocols at the moment. So we've got the official PulseX, obviously Richard Hart's team, and that is pulsex.swap. So you guys all use this. This is the biggest DEX. So DEX means decentralized exchange, right? And this is the biggest one. And of course, this is IPFS again. So you can download it as well onto your computer and use the IPFS link as well. Pretty cool. And you can trade everything, right? So what does this have? You can buy and sell. You can pick any token. You can paste the contract of any token. It's pretty seamless. It's largely a V2 DEX, and you can go to the info tab here, and you can see the different pools. There are V1 and V2. V1, of course, support the farms that are on the PulseChain, and of course the V2 are the new pools where you actually get the fees, right? V1 you don't get the fees when you're providing liquidity. V2 here you get the fees, and of course then there's all this stable coin, which is a very smart move by Richard Hart. With these trifecta of stable coins, USDC, DAI, and Tether. These are all from Ethereum, right? These are all bridged in from Ethereum. And of course, they give you a pretty decent liquidity and keep this price, this $1 price, pretty close to each other as well. And they're earning a tiny little LP reward for people with stable coins, particularly if you've got large amount of stable coins, to earn a pretty nice little LP reward there of 2.7%. So not bad as well. So that's kind of PulseX and kind of a no-brainer. Of course, it has a link to that bridge that we talked about, the official bridge. So this is kind of your go-to. This is the Richard Hart product, right? It's kind of the basic go-to. With when in doubt, go to Richard Hart's projects. That's pretty much it, right? And then number 2, we got Petra, the big DEX aggregator. This DEX aggregator, as far as I know, dominates the swaps on PulseChain overall. I think it's doing, I think they have numbers they publish, maybe 60%, 70%, somewhere in that ballpark. You can correct me if I'm wrong in there, but they have pretty high numbers in terms of the market dominance. That gives a lot of underlying value potentially to the Petra's token. Obviously not financial advice, but that is it. And we also saw Sun Mini Meal from that first one with the Onramps. They're going to be Banksa. They're using Petra's to do a lot of the swapping networks, right, and including the SOAR token. So Petra's there playing a pretty big role. We're also expecting in the future from Petra's to do their AI market and trading, right? So that's going to be potentially opening up a massive new market on PulseChain that we're looking forward to. So hopefully we'll get an update about that in due course. But this Petra's pretty easy swapping, right? Swapping tokens. All the interfaces are all pretty similar. You can pick a lot of tokens here. They have a lot of default tokens, which makes it really easy for new people because all you have to do is say, if you say PulseX, I can just go PulseX, right? Pick there. You tell me I want, PDI, the one on PulseChain, the forked one. I can just pick that too, and it's there. If you tell me I want EHEX that's Hex from Ethereum, I can pick that now and I can buy that with my Pulse, right? That's how easy it is. Pretty easy. And it's a DEX aggregator, right? So it's going to pull up all these different other DEXs that we're going to be talking about in a second. So a lot of these other DEXs on here, it's going to go through all those pools and get you the best price, right? And it takes a little bit of a profit off that on every single one, but it gets you the best deal. So hopefully you're making a net savings there as well. Now they've improved the speed, things like that. One of the biggest problems that you'll have is when we have a fast-moving market fast-moving market down, then these things have to route through all these different pools, and it takes time, right? And so they've been doing improvements trying to get that faster, but these could be an issue. And of course, these are going through a lot of the established pools like PulseX, the one we just talked about before. And so sometimes you might have a better experience with some of the smaller pools, maybe like 9mm, because they've got their own liquidity pools. And so you can swap with those pools and you don't have the high gas prices as bad, right? So that can be a bit better in fast moving markets. Probably some of the experiences that people have had there. Now, we got obviously 9mm is in there as well. 9mm, of course, is pretty much generally the second biggest DEX as well, excluding PHUX out there. And of course, you can buy and sell here as well. And they recently had some, I think, limit orders. I'm not sure if they still do that there. They don't have limit orders now, but you can swap between tokens here. And once again, you just check that you're getting a good rate on any of these platforms. And the good benchmark for that is typically PulseX, right? That's kind of the main one there. And DEX Screener, you can check it out on DEX Screener. Just look up the peers and always make sure you're getting a good rate, if you're in doubt, and sure, they should show up the US dollar value, so you should have a good idea that you're getting pretty much what you expected between Pulse and DAI, for example. So that's pretty much it. And they have all the tokens pretty much, so or most of the tokens, and they're routing through a lot of pools as well. So when I say DEX aggregators, these ones are going through other pools. So they'll be going through 9inch and PulseX and 9mm, they'll be going through all their pools that they got with different peerings and getting you the best rate. So that's what DEX aggregators do, right? Get you the best rate across multiple DEXs, both decentralized exchanges. We've got Portal X Swap as well. Now, I believe that also offers you the chance to do, obviously it does cross-chain. I think you can do on-chain swaps in here as well. Once again, I've had trouble opening. Oh, there it goes. Yay, it's back. It's back. How about that? Who knew? But, they've got PulseChain there. And I think you can do on chain. Let me have a look here. So Pulse to PulseX, yeah. So you can do on chain, but obviously you can do multi chain, right? So multi chain there, and I don't think you can do Pulse on there. I don't know, let's have a look. See, I haven't done Pulse on there, but you can. Maybe you can. So you got Pulse there, Rat Pulse from PulseChain. So you got the Rat version. So people send Pulse from PulseChain over to Ethereum. They set up a LP fair on Ethereum with Rat Pulse over there, like a new version there. So that's pretty much it. And we got PulseX instead of Hex over on Ethereum that you can buy and sell over there too. You don't have to actually come on PulseChain, but there's maybe some efficiencies there, different size liquidity pools, etc. But yeah, that is the cross chain and the on chain swap there from Portal X, and Portal X, one of our biggest teams. So that makes a lot of sense. They got the liquidity forks, right, for PXDC. And was that PulseX and of course HexDC as well, the two PulseX and Hex backed liquidity forks and stablecoins. So Portal X pretty established Power City, pretty established team there. Now we've got GoPulse as well. Now GoPulse, of course, been around for a long time. They have some controversy around their raise at the moment. And of course, some people, making certain criticisms of things. I don't want to get into that, but you can definitely look at the evidence yourself and make a judgment. But they have a lot of features on here. There's definitely been a pretty big place here. They route through 34 routes through 4 dexes, so you can actually see the dexes. They got PulseX V1 and V2, so those are 2 separate. Remember, we said that V2 you earn the fees if you provide liquidity. V1 you don't, but there's the farms. You can get the benefit of the incentive token in the farms, which is actually I said 0.03 ink per second now. So it's a lot lower than it used to be. Obviously, that's thinned out the pools there too. They also go through 9-inch and also 9mm. So those are the main ones, and we can actually see those are the main ones here, right? 9-inch, 9mm. And PulseX that we had on that, on the previous page. Where's the PulseX gone? PulseX at the top here, number 0. I've got it here. So that is kind of the play on that one. Now, like I said, this is actually GoPulse service actually moves pretty fast. I've found it to be one of the faster movers. But sometimes people say, Petra is, but it's give and take. I think with my experiences so far, PulseX or GoPulse is typically faster, but then Petra gives you a much bigger routing routes, way more different routes to get better deals. So yeah, and I know Petra definitely increased their speed a lot. So maybe it just depends on what you're trading. I don't know, but that's just my experience. Some people can have different experiences with that, but that's kind of where I am. And of course, that's you can swap all sorts of tokens, and it's proved a pretty good product there. Now, some of them have different fees, right? So where will you get the best deal? Because not only do they route through to get you the lowest price, but then you got fees on top on some of these platforms. So are you, what nets you out with the best price? So that's another thing to think about. And therefore, you could open up a couple of different DEX aggregators like Petra's, like GoPulse, like PulseX, and compare amongst them and see what the best result is, right? So that's a worthy thing to do if you're really trying to get, squeeze out the most for your buck. So there's a couple of things to think about. All right, so that is GoPulse. We've got Internet Money as well. Now, Internet Money is a wallet, right? So this is from KG, one of the very well-established, popular founder and influencer in his own right. And of course, he's been doing Internet Money wallet over 73,000 downloads, I think it is. Let's quickly look. But they have a swapping feature in their wallet, and if they have a token called Time Token, if you're holding a Time Token in the wallet, you get a share of the profits. So it's very, very awesome. Yeah, look at us, almost 75,000 downloads. Look, they're really going up all the time. So doing a great job here, and just gaining more and more download wallets here. Now, if you're owning Time, you get to share the swap profits. Obviously, the more people that are downloading it, the more people that are using it. It's kind of is the go-to wallet now on PulseChain. Now that we had Rabby wallet disappear, we do have Pulse wallet, the fork of Rabby, but this is kind of the most stable, most trusted one, and of course got pretty feature rich. It's got its pros and cons, and they're improving it all the time. But this kind of the native wallet now for PulseChain, I would argue. And it definitely it seems like the downloads have been accelerating if I'm looking at the right data here. So kind of cool. They have the swap volume, they have the dividends paid. So yeah, and they have multiple chains. If you're holding Time on different chains, you can do that too. So you can do swaps on here, and it's generally fairly good. Now they have fees in a wallet, right? So you got to weigh that up versus other platforms. So it really just depends, how much you're swapping. How much you care about fees, what I mean? Like it is a personal decision there, and that's just the way it goes. But fantastic swapping experience on there, generally speaking. So that is the old Internet Money wallet. Then we have PulseSwap, right? PulseSwap out there. I haven't used this, but PulseSwap is out there. It looks pretty nice. So you can swap between different tokens. Here we are on PulseChain. And what else? Does it have other chains? It does have other chains on here. We've got PulseChain, and let's have a look here. We can swap over to, I don't know, it's got the default as well, just like Petra's. We've got default here. So, I can swap from Pulse to PulseX, and apparently that's the case. Is it going to happen? It says I can do it. Let me have a look here. Let's swap to Teddy Bear then. Okay, now it's got PulseX. Just a little bit delay there. And so we've got Pulse to PulseX there. The aggregators of aggregators. So this is a much bolder claim, right? So we've got, obviously, Petra's there out there with probably a wide range of aggregation. And here we've got 18 blockchains, but the aggregators there. So not only they're aggregating potentially on chain, but across chains potentially. I guess that's what they're arguing here. PulseSwap compares to top dexes and aggregators to get you the lowest fees and best price solution there. So ultimately, are they routing through, which is what they're indicating, they're routing through Petra, which is kind of the top dex aggregator, and other aggregators and dexes, right? So they're the aggregators of aggregators there. 18 blocks applaud there, so pretty impressive stuff. I haven't used it, but that's definitely there as well. And they've got some relationships here. The StealthX, we talked about that. That was one of those 4 that we had on the Onramps as well. You can onboard crypto onto here as well. So pretty awesome service from the looks of it, although I haven't used it. So, just to take that note. Now, then we get from the DEX aggregators to the on-chain DEX swaps. And obviously, we've got 9inch out there, obviously very popular. And of course, 9inch there, this was a big sacrifice project as well, $16 million, I think it was, with Hexy Bastard, the founder. And this has been, ticking along there. Obviously, it's got its own chart, but really we were looking not at the chart, but at the swap feature. And they have their own liquidity pools, right? So that this could be a good alternative to PulseX when things are, going up really fast, really down, and the gas prices go through the roof. This could be a nice alternative to doing swaps. And that we've had some experience with that during those times. So this is a trade here. Obviously, you can trade in different tokens as well. So it's kind of cool. And just remember, they've got their own liquidity pools. You can also do limit orders on here. That's pretty interesting. So you can do limit orders, and they have their own liquidity, right? So they've got their own liquidity pools, and you can see all the pools here and the amount of liquidity they got them. They're much smaller than obviously than PulseX. This is kind of generally sitting around about the third biggest DEX on PulseChain, behind 9mm. 9mm and 9inch can swap around a bit in terms of the amount of liquidity or total value lock they've got in their pools. But that's kind of the play there. Then we get to 9mm, of course, which is the other one. 9inch and 9mm kind of tussle each other for second and third place, generally speaking. And of course, you can see that on Dex Screener. We'll look at that in a minute. And of course, this is 9mm as well. And of course, you can connect your wallet and you can, trade other tokens, right? And they've also got a default list with some of the popular ones here, including stable coins, which is pretty nice. So USDC, for example, PUSD, that. And you can check out you're getting a good deal. Always check out you're getting a good deal. And that's probably the main thing you could say. So those are kind of all the on-chain dexes there. That is the top 10. And hey, look, there are a couple others. I just didn't include. There's probably 2 or 3 others. I just didn't include them either because they've really got low liquidity and they're not really using them anymore. But you could still try. And one of the other ones, of course, just popped up recently. It looks like a 9mm code, very similar to 9mm code or 9inch code. I can't remember which one now. And that is there. So let's quickly look at what I mean when I'm talking about this other one. I just didn't put it on the list because safety reasons. Really, I just don't know much about it, and so I didn't want to really put it on there. But you can see it's called PDEX Vision. So here it is. Here you can see PulseX is number 1 with the liquidity. We're looking at 10.9 million, right? That's Rich Hart, right? And then we've got 9mm sitting at number 2, and this has been kind of holding number 2 position a lot. Now this excludes the PH Universe ecosystem, which has PHUX called PHUX, which is a balancer fork. It has its own liquidity and swapping feature. So that's not on this one. But we've got 9mm here, and then we've got 9inch. So we talked about those. Those are kind of the 3 stables here on Dex Screener. And then, of course, we've got a few of those. We talked about Spike Swap. It's quite low, but it's still got a swapping bridge feature. And then, of course, PDEX here. It's just come out of nowhere. Got, I think, very similar code. I think it's either the 9mm or 9inch. I just can't remember now. One of those. But this kind of number, I'm not aware of anyone knowing who the founder is. So that's why I really haven't talked about it. It's got volume of 67K. That compares to, 620K 9mm and 9inch sitting currently at about 60K on-chain volume, right? You can use it as you risk. I haven't put it on the list. But I just wanted to note that's out there, and the reason why I haven't put it on there. So it's kind of cool. We do have some older ones as well. Easy Swap and Velocimeter. I mean, you can check out some of these little ones, but there's virtually nothing on these. So try and use it your own thing. But why do that when you've got some pretty major ones? We've got a fine list here of 10 pretty good protocols. So that is the second one there. And let's get into it. I'm going to post the link to that. So these are our swap protocols. So PulseChain, what did I call the last one? On-ramp list. So swap list, let's just call it that. And you can play around with that. And so this is our second topic. And so that's pretty important, right? So you can share this around to your friends. It's a good list, and you can recommend the ones that you've used, right? That's always typically the best because, they're all good. You've heard me talk about some of the pros and cons, some of the tips to, handling these, and that is the swap list there. But that's pretty definitive and up to date, right? Up to date. Now, there are other sites. There's sites like Pulse Coin List. and How to Pulse and things like that have lists. There are other, lists of, projects in the ecosystem, much broader than just on-chain and swapping sites. So there's lots of stuff out there. You can also get extra information from those, right? Now let's have a quick look at our next one. This is our final topic. So let's just go through this. So I'll close down a lot of these websites that I got, and we're going to get to the third main topic, right? Block explorers. Now, this is probably one of the area besides bridges, I would argue, because we've got plenty of dexes and dex aggregators, right? We're quite handsomely rich on PulseChain with swaps and dex aggregators. On chain, getting Onramps, we've got this next Bankster one. It's going to be very important. We needed another big way of getting money onto the chain, and we'll probably need a couple more, right? We need the more the merrier for that. There's definitely an area we can still build on. That's up to developers and big financiers and things like that. But here, of course, we also have had issues with block explorers, and we're now getting 2 new ones, right? We've got 2 new ones. So not now getting, we got them. So Midgard's has come online, right? So a very, very beautiful explorer there, and really AAA kind of look. When I say AAA, it's kind of like a top tier kind of thing. Very beautiful. Runs very quick, renders very quickly, and is a beautiful site, right? So this is a pleasure to look at. It's got the GUI at the top there. It's got the pulse price. It has your blocks and your transactions. So it's got the basics there. And it's a pretty beautifully rendered site, right? So you can jump into a block. Transactions. So we're going to do that in a minute. You got the gas price, watch list, blazing fast, find transactions in no time. That's been a very important thing, right? Just to get that snap there real quick. People won't like things now. Block data, of course, easy view data with blocks on Explorer. DeFi stats, of course, view DeFi data, which is a nice add-on, right? Another nice extra. And then they've got AI-powered scan contracts for threats using AI scanner, which is a really nice added value opportunity here. And of course, something that a lot of people ask, okay, I see a contract. Is it safe? And of course, the AI there is going to help you with that. It's like the first line of defense as well. Now, you can obviously jump into blocks as well. You can click on a block and look through that. So pretty cool. This block not found. Maybe it's not rendered yet, or not posted yet. But you got this latest blocks here. Let's just see if we can find something else that's maybe here. Let's see if it's found. So there's a block there. We've got the hash of the block, timestamps, etc. The block size, number of transactions in the block, the validator actually that won the block there and solved that. So yeah, base fee, the burn pulse in there as well, priority fees and validator fee. So it's got lots of extra details there, and 16 transactions in that block. So all the transactions in the block, pretty cool. Listed out there, so you can even go down into transaction hash and have a look at the transaction here and the block that it was in. And of course, check all that out too. So it's got all the details there: gas price, fees breakdown, input data on those, blah blah blah. So that's kind of cool on that. And of course, you can also go to tokens and check out tokens on here. It's got all a lot of default list of tokens. Beautiful, right? Nice. And so you can go straight into some of your popular tokens. You can hit the star and set them to your favorites, which is pretty cool. We're going to go to Hex here on PulseChain, and it's got a nice cool thing. It's even got the website, right, and Telegram and charts. Beautiful, right? It's so good. So good. And so yeah, I can't say good enough things there. And it's only going to get better and better. Right? They're adding more and more and more to this. It's pretty awesome. Now they have a donate page. So definitely, funding on PulseChain is awkward. We previously had all the sacrifices. A lot of people, not so keen on those. And of course, some of them didn't perform very well. Some of them have done modestly well, I would say, like Internet Money Wallet. And of course, probably doing excellently well now, I would argue. So move from moderate to excellent on things like Internet Money, and a couple others have done fairly well. A lot of projects have delivered what they said, like Liquid Loans and Power City. Performance of the token, not so much, but it's maybe that's something for the future when PulseChain gets on a rally. And we got the favorites. You can set your favorites here as well, which is pretty cool. And obviously on those tokens, you can hit some of these stars to favorites there. You got a portfolio, so you can add your own portfolio on here. Isn't that cool? So portfolio tracker, and you got the Explorer here as well. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? So it's pretty neat there. And probably they're going to be a lot of partnerships with some of these swapping and dex aggregators we talked about, probably coming up there. We've got settings, so you can set your own sort of stuff here, experimental features, so you can check all that out, number rounding, about Midgard, so you can check all that out. And then they've got tools. These tools are pretty cool. Airdrop tool, I got that too. So that's in the house. So this is pretty rich, right, with features. And that's probably come. I don't know if that's ready yet. Some of these may not all be ready. Token locker and vesting, they got that too. Let's see if that's ready. It's ready. Yeah, so you can create that. Isn't that cool? So nice. They're token lock tokens, create vesting, and it's got a few extra features there. That'd be pretty cool if you're going to found your own token. Now, we already talked about a couple of protocols that make tokens, right? We talked about Axel's platform to create tokens. We talked about Nexion's platform to create tokens. There are other platforms out there you can create tokens. GoPulse does basic, so that they have varying features. They're more advanced, like Nexion and Axel, and then the more simple like GoPulse, so you can make your own tokens these days. And now you can do lock tokens and create vestings on Midgard. So it's kind of cool. Now we also got the token factory. They've obviously got their own factory here. I don't know if this is operational. Maybe it's not yet, but that's something to look out for. I'm not sure. Sometimes it's just not rendering on my computer for some reason. But then we've got PulseCoin in here as well. So it's kind of cool features. So this is kind of some of the latest stuff here. We've got pending transactions, and let's see if that's gone there. So we've got pending transactions. Not bad. And then we've got Midgard AI scanner as well, which is awesome. I've used this on a token, and it works very, very well. This is your first line of defense. I guess after this, you could go to Pulse Police and then go to some dev and look at the contract. You want to know it's verified and things like that, and it's safety stuff. So kind of cool. And you post the thing in there, and away you go. So I mean, you can go to. I mean, let's just. I don't know if we can do it live. Let's just go to the token quickly, and let's pick up a token here. And let's go to a COSA, shall we? And let's see here. We've got the contract. Let's see where the contract is. View address, view contract details. That's one way of doing it. I guess we had two ways there. And let's go to the Midgard analyzer and post this in. And let's see how that goes. And we're going to analyze the token. There we go. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. This is all new to PulseChain. So PulseChain is advancing. The utilities are very important for PulseChain. People say, I just was interested in pumping tokens, but actually then they complain about this being slow, that being slow. Well, the reason is because, is this safe? These questions are being answered by developers building stuff out. So, people quickly say, well, actually, this does matter to me, and it does matter, right? So there we go. So we've got some kind of cool things here. We've got admin controls, low risk, trading restrictions, low risk, blacklist functions, interesting controls, funding withdrawal, low risk there. Gives you an idea where there's taxes on it as well. So it's pretty cool. Some people get confused. Has it got a tax? Is it not a tax? Why can't I do slippage? So depending on your experience, right, how quickly you are picking up stuff. It's got overall risk there as well. Contracts verified. So that's obviously the tick that a lot of people are looking for. And of course, whether it's got any, weird functions in it as well. High risk functions, got a couple of those. Suspicious patterns, findings, etc. Contract reads. So it's got a lot of different things in there. AI analysis there as well. Isn't that pretty awesome? Look at that. I mean, come on, that's pretty good, right? And that's your first line of defense, really, if you think about it. And then you can go from there, like I say. So pretty awesome block explorer there. Now, next one we're going to talk about is Lightbeam. This came out from Gerardo, right? So Gerardo here, another one of the big protocols that got sacrificed money, $11 million for, of course, the Mint NFT marketplace, one of the big NFT marketplaces. And now they've got Lightbeam as well. He's got a number of different sites, by the way. He's probably got 7 or 8 different products that he's got, some information sites, and of course some NFT markets, things like that. But now he's got the Lightbeam, right? So it's got supply, blocks, transactions, top accounts. So it's got lots of cool things in there you can play around with. Look at that, pretty cool. Top pulse holders there, so nice. And you got the tokens. You got Richard Hart coins. You got featured, forked, bridged in. So nice little category distinction there. Very cool. You've got obviously the gas prices at the moment and low, average, high. So a lot of people are used to that. And buy tight, right? Popular actions. Sending pulse, sending PRC20s, selling NFTs, all that good stuff. So nice. Got a bridge, PulseChain bridge holdings. We talked about the bridge, right? The PulseChain official one. And of course, this will give you presumably a breakdown of that. So this one here is a slightly different number than the Gold Pulse number, 73.5 million. And this one here probably because it's including maybe native stable coins or hex or something like that. So it might be some of the differentials there. But you can actually see the amounts here. It's got the DAI, the hex, the USDC, the wrapped ETH, the USD Tether. It's got the breakdowns there on the bridge. So very cool. And it's got the bridge contract there, 10AD, A10D there. And it's got distribution of funds. And you can see, the DAI there's the top one, hex as well. And then USDC and wrapped ETH and USD Tether. So pretty awesome, right? So nice little feature there. It would be actually kind of cool if they actually had, if you go to Telegram, you can actually see the bridge transactions coming in through on a Telegram. They come in constantly. They give you hourly updates, how much is coming in, both leaving and coming into the chain. Be nice to see that on here on Lightbeam, wouldn't it? So maybe that's a feature that people could ask for, because I think that'd be pretty cool, being able to see it here on this protocol. So that's kind of cool. We also got portfolio here. We had portfolio over on Midgard, and we got one here too. So you can add that in as well. And of course, they've got some advertisement there as well. They've got some advertisers. Let's have a look. Well, you can advertise on here, so that's something you can look out for. And this is a theme I really like happening on PulseChain. A real move to professionalism, and of course, people respond to professionalism. You won't believe it, they do. And so, being able to advertise, being able to do promotions, very, very important. Otherwise, it's a pretty unconnected market, right? It's just kind of random, and people like to get a bit better than that. So it's kind of cool. All right, so that's pretty nice. Let's get into the legacy ones. We've got 9mm. 9mm has been the staple. It's been one of my favorite ones to go to, right? So 9mm has been pretty awesome. And you can paste in the address. You can check out tokens. You can, do all that sort of stuff. But it's fairly basic, right? But really good, fast and good. You get the basic stuff, and you can paste in contracts and the likes, and really get to see everything there, right? Latest transactions and blocks. So it does the basic thing. Now, have you noticed that something's missing? Let me know in the chat if you know what's missing from all these blocks explorers so far. Let me know in the chat. So we got Otter as well. Otter's been around, or Otter. I got to say it, without the Kiwi slang. Otter. What I say? Otter, mate. Come on. We got in Australia and New Zealand, we use a lot of R's. Us. It's just like in Canada they use Canada and we instead of say Canada we'll say and we'll say like Otter. It's kind of some of the things. Anyway, enough joke aside. And so this is Otter. I gotta say it. Otter. Say it like the British. Otter. It's Otter. All right, so there we go. Pulse, and you can paste in address, the hash, and stuff like that. So it's pretty basic, but you get some good stuff here, right? You get some good stuff, and that's pretty much it. So you don't have all the blocks and transactions flowing down like you did with the other ones, but it does the job, right? It does the job. And then we've got, obviously, the official PulseChain one, the Richard Hart one here, scan.pulsechain.com, and there's another IPFS, just like we see with the bridge and PulseX. We got another IPF, and you can download it to your, the application to your computer as well. And that's not too bad. I mean, it's pretty similar. We got so pretty similar to 9mm. We got the blocks and tokens, and you can paste your addresses in here, and you got transactions down the bottom here. Pretty cool. But what is missing off of these block explorers? Can you guys know? Do you guys know? Let me know in the chat there. We've got about 225 people watching at the moment, so big shout out. But do you guys know what is missing off these ones here? Now, this is no criticism, because these guys do an amazing job, but it's something you always want some features. Well, it's I've had people in the Discord come up to me talking about what time. It starts with the T. Yes, tax time, right? Tax time. Now, some people don't even know what that means in crypto, but for those that do, people want transaction history, and so far, I don't think any of these explorers have transaction exports. So that's something to have, right? We see that on Etherscan, I think PUSD scan, was it the Sonic scan, base scan, whatever other scans you want. So this is probably something that does need to be added, is a transaction history. So food for thought there. Put your wishes in there. And of course, maybe I'll get less questions about that in Discord about that stuff. So pretty cool. So those are the kind of 5 staple block explorers out there that you can use. And boy, are we lucky, because Midgard and Lightbeam bring 2 great new explorers there, with feature-rich explorers, along with our stables there, our legacies of 9mm, Otter, and PulseChain. So something for everybody there. But really, Midgard, Lightbeam taking it to the next level for sure. And Midgard there, right at the top. I mean, it's the AI checker and stuff like that. It's looking pretty good, I think. And of course, a lot more features coming from these teams. So big shout out to Midgard team, and of course Gerardo and the Lightbeam team, and of course big thanks to 9mm, Otter, and of course Richard Hart and the PulseChain there, looking pretty good. So something there for everybody. You can use any of them, really depends on how much what UI you like, what sort of complexity you want, what sort of information you want. But certainly, you get the basic ideas, you get transactions, you get the blocks, and you find out all that sort of stuff. But there's definitely a lot more information in these new Midgard and Lightbeams there. So that is the block explorers on PulseChain, and it's nice to have a good, almost half a dozen now, which is kind of cool. Block explorer list. So save these to your favorites and share them around, and let people know about them, because you're going to help them a lot, right? Because we get a lot of questions in the crypto helpline. And we're, as far as I know, we're the only one with the crypto outline, and that's because the community needs help, right? It's as simple as that, and we're here all the time, and so we might as well play our part. So big shout out to our community leaders, Brian and Wookie, and of course all our moderators in Discord and Telegram, on YouTube, on Rumble. You guys do an amazing job helping a lot of the people in the community and they got big hearts, right? They got big hearts for sure. They just sacrifice themselves. Servitude, man, servitude. It's all the craze right now. We got the play. All right, so let's jump over the top here. Let's jump back up here. We've got a couple of comments. I want to get into that. So that was the list. I didn't actually post it there, but that was the list there. That's our third pick. And so we've covered everything, right? The ultimate guide to PulseChain's on-ramps, decentralized aggregators and dexes, and of course the block explorer. So there is all right there. A lot of people ask about these questions. That is the list. Hope you guys enjoy it. And you might find one or two others out there, but those kind of the major ones for sure. All right, let's quickly jump into a couple of the comments in the chat here as well. How are we doing for time? An hour and 34 minutes. OMG, I thought I was only doing like an hour live stream. It's crazy sometimes. But hey, look, we've got 225 people watching at the moment. So I really do appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys have enjoying the content. We are ramping things up, and I think you guys may be noticing that. We've got more things to come, by the way, quite a few more things to come as we're just looking to grow, bring a sense of professionalism. We're covering not just all the cool information things on PulseChain. We cover the markets on a daily basis from crypto. We also include, I've been covering Trump's economic strategy just so people understand where that's heading and how that's going to benefit us in crypto. Is going to be massive. So we're covering a bit of everything there, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying that stuff. Now we got Brian says, I've used Swapspace for many of my onboards for large amounts. Never had an issue there from Brian there. So it's a good shout out for the old space swap aspect there. We got Crazy Calls in the house there. You are awesome. A big shout out there, Crazy Calls. And what else do we got? We got Fast Abdul in the house there. May the 4th be with you, Superman. I appreciate that. Big shout out. And of course, may the 4th be with you as well. Now, we're already here on the 5th here, so it's always a bit weird for us down under because we're always a day ahead, but definitely the 4th is strong. And of course, it's no more stronger than with Wookie because he's actually from that galaxy. So the Star Wars galaxy. He's one of our 2 community leaders. Brian says, what a linguist you are, boss. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. I went through so many stuff right now. It's a lot of the American people that in our community that are holding me to task about my accent and how I say things. So even though I'm saying them the way I think that they are, that's just the way it goes. But we got the old slang, right? The slang comes in. And look, I mean, it's just like anybody. If you're talking to somebody from your same nationality, you got the same culture exactly, then you're going to end up getting pretty fast. So when I talk to another Kiwi, I'm talking relatively slow now, but when I talk to another Kiwi, it just goes up speed like 3 times speed or something. It just slowly starts and then it just runs away. And I guess that's true for probably any culture in the world, just about, unless some cultures maybe they speak a bit slow with the linguist there. Definitely you see people, if they're talking to each other in the same language and the thing, you see them suddenly they get real fast with their language, and it's pretty funny. A little bit of side topic there. Nice A says post jitsu. We got I like Midgard the best. Yeah, it's definitely doing very well. So a big shout out to the team there, and a big shout out to Gerardo as well for this new protocol. I just noticed, just saying. Yeah, that's the link to the Discord. If you guys want to join up today, we had a brand new member today, so a big shout out for that. We had a brand new member, Haken, in the house there. Haken, hopefully I'm saying that right. And if you want to join up, the links are in the video description. I do encourage you to join. We have just an amazing community, a bunch of really great people. I just generally have a really great experience in our Discord. You can bring your own awesomeness to our Discord as well. And we'll be look forward to that. We have tons of chats in there about everything on crypto. We've seen virtually everything on PulseChain happen in real time. So it's a great place to be if you want to be in a cool community like that. We have all the information. We've got all the lists and links, the platforms and charts and everything. It is pretty cool. And of course, that is our community membership. That is $12.50 a month. It is a private Discord, and it's going pretty well. We've got about 1,100 people in there. So come and join us. The next level, of course, you want to go above that is our strategy club, which I will be doing an update for today for the monthly update for May. So definitely get on that. That's $35 a month, but well worth getting on there. Really great value, to be honest. So get in on that. All right. So what else there? We got Superman is speaking for us from the future. That is true. We are here on the 5th of May. It is crazy. It's currently 1:40 p.m. in the afternoon. Can you believe it? If you're on Rumble, of course, join up. Links in the video description to Discord. If you're on X, go to the profile, top of the profile, follow me on X, and of course, hit those socials. Hit them all. Join them all. Become part of the community. Because we're just ramping things up. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming out. One new thing is coming out this week, and probably another one in a week's time that are really going to scale our contribution, as it were, to crypto and PulseChain here on the Crypto Night Show. Now, I want to do a big shout out to MVS. He's our promotional lead. We've just set up a recently a promotional team. This is to help small to medium projects get their voice, get their project up. You can have the greatest project in the world, but if people aren't seeing it, then what can they? You can't. It doesn't do anything, right? You can have the most greatest project, and so we're really trying to help out, match up, really good projects with a lot of great bunch of people, and hopefully they have a win-win outcome, right? That's always the game there. So check out, hit me up or hit MVS up if you want to get promotional work done. And we're doing both video work on YouTube, Rumble, X, Discord, as well as social outreach as well on X, Telegram, and a few other platforms. So definitely join up to that if you want to get us up there. We can help you out. All right. So what else there we can see is he won't shut up. Yeah, I don't know. Just keep going here. We're now 40 in. I better finish the stream. And of course, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. A big shout out to everybody. And we're getting ready to rumble. Honestly, PulseChain's kind of lagging a little bit. Ethereum's lagging a little bit, but we got that big EIP upgrade on the 7th. We got Donald Trump laying out, I think, the ultimate strategy by the 4th of July. And man, it's game on. It's game on. So get the dips while you can. That's all I can say. All right, take care, everybody. And on that note, I'm gonna play the video that you guys love. I know, or do I love it more? I don't know. Let's play this video one more time, and then I'm gonna say goodbye. All right, bye for now. This is the final word from Richard Hart. Big shout out there.
What's up, bitches? Richard here, aka Most Wanted, aka Most Loved, aka Sack Daddy. If you happen to not live on planet Earth, you may have not heard the latest. I fucking beat the SEC case. I want to say thank you to my supporters for never doubting me. Adding to that, I want to send a clear message to anyone who did doubt me. You will not be spared.
All right, peace out, everybody. Take care and enjoy yourself. Bye for now. Captain Starship out. All right, bye for now.